Emily Carter, 24, grew up in a small town in Ohio. A kind soul, with big dreams and a passion for writing. After losing her parents, she was raised by her aunt, a strict woman who believed that security was more important than love. So when Emily was married off to Richard Hale, a 52-year-old wealthy but quiet man from Seattle, she didn't argue. Richard was gentle, soft-spoken, and lonely. He offered Emily comfort, a beautiful home, but not much excitement. As part of their new life together, he took her to a quiet town in Montana, Pine Creek, for a calm, snow-covered honeymoon retreat. They checked into an old-fashioned wooden lodge, elegant, cozy, and surrounded by pine trees and snow. The first day was peaceful. Richard gifted her a notebook to write her thoughts that night. Snow fell heavily. Emily looked out the window, mesmerized by the silence. Richard was reading by the fireplace, and then, the power went out, the room turned dark. Then came the knock, not once, not twice, but loud. Relentless. Knocking that shook the door before they could react. Two masked men broke in. One held a crowbar, the other had a duffel bag. They weren't just robbers, they were planned, quick, and dangerous. They tied Richard and dragged Emily away, into a dark van. Richard, bleeding but conscious, watched helplessly as the van disappeared into the woods. The van moved fast. Emily was terrified, confused, and shaking. She prayed under her breath, not knowing where they were taking her. Meanwhile, Richard, wounded and limping, found the hotel manager's truck, hotwired it, and began driving through the stormy woods. He didn't care about the cold, he didn't care about the pain. His wife had been taken, and he was going to get her back. Deep in the forest, the van stopped at a rundown log cabin. Inside were stolen goods, tools, and maps. Emily was locked inside, shivering, confused, and scared. But something inside her had shifted. She remembered the notebook Richard gave her, now hidden in her coat. She pulled it out and wrote, "If I get out of here, I will never take another moment for granted." Outside, Richard quietly parked the truck and moved toward the cabin with a broken axe handle. He wasn't strong. He wasn't fast. But he was determined. Inside, the thieves laughed, counting stolen jewelry. One of them turned to check on Emily. The door burst open. Richard stormed in. Swinging wildly, shouting her name. What happened next was messy. Desperate. Painful, but in the end, he won. Emily and Richard ran out into the night, cold, bloody, and silent. At dawn, rescue teams found them by the roadside, wrapped in a torn blanket, holding hands. The thieves were arrested. Emily was safe, but more than that, she was changed. Back home in Seattle, Emily published her first short story titled, "The Night in Pine Creek." You never know what life is preparing you for. Sometimes it gives you a path you don't understand, a marriage you didn't choose, a night you didn't expect, a battle you didn't train for. But if you hold on, if you believe, if you fight, you might just discover that the weakest moment of your life was actually the strongest version of you being born. This story touched you. Bell subscribe, thumbs up, like, speech balloon comment below. Would you have had the courage Richard showed?